Imagine a country with more oil in the ground than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. A nation sitting on a fortune so large, it could impact global energy prices, national security, and the balance of power between world superpowers. Now imagine that country in political and economic collapse, while its people struggle for basic necessities. That nation is Venezuela, and whether you realize it or not, what happens there matters a lot to the United States, to global oil markets, and to the future of geopolitics. Today, we're going to break down exactly why Venezuela is so important to the US, especially right now. We'll explore history, oil, politics, and power struggles, all in a way that's clear, engaging, and free from confusion. Let's get into it. First, we have to talk about oil because Venezuela's oil is at the heart of its global importance. Venezuela is home to the largest proven oil reserves in the world, around 303 billion barrels, roughly 17 to 18% of all known oil on Earth. But here's the twist. Despite having so much oil, Venezuela produces far less oil today than it once did. In the late 1990s, it was producing over 3.5 million barrels per day. Now, because of years of mismanagement, sanctions, and lack of investment, output has fallen to around 1 million barrels per day, barely 1% of global daily oil production. That's a huge discrepancy, and it tells us two things. The resource is there right beneath the ground, but Venezuela's ability to extract and export oil has collapsed. So why does this matter to the United States? Let's take a moment to think geographically. Venezuela sits in South America, right across the Caribbean from the U.S. Gulf Coast, where many American oil refineries and petrochemical industries are located. Historically, this made Venezuela a natural trading partner for the U.S., especially in oil. In the early 20th century, American companies like Standard Oil invested heavily in Venezuela's first oil discoveries, and for decades it was a major supplier. So the first reason Venezuela matters to the U.S. is geographical and economic. It's right next door. And its oil could help fuel U.S. refineries. Now let's talk about what actually happened inside Venezuela. For most of the 20th century, Venezuela's oil fueled economic growth. But after the government took control of the oil industry, nationalizing it in the 1970s and solidifying that control in the 2000s, under leaders like Hugo Chavez, things started to change. Despite massive reserves, Venezuela's oil infrastructure crumbled. Pipelines deteriorated. Refineries stopped operating at full capacity. Skilled workers fled the country. Sanctions made foreign investment near impossible. The result? Oil production fell drastically. This is crucial. Venezuela's oil didn't disappear, it just stopped being productive. So the question viewing audiences must ask is, what would happen if that oil could be produced again? That's exactly what the US is thinking about. In recent months, US involvement in Venezuela has escalated rapidly. In January 2026, the United States conducted a controversial operation in Venezuela that resulted in the capture of President Nicolas Maduro, a move that shocked the world and intensified U.S.-Venezuela tensions. U.S. leaders have justified their actions with claims about combating drug trafficking and narco-terrorism, but many critics argue the real motivation is tied to oil and geopolitical influence. Following Maduro's capture, the U.S. began selling Venezuelan oil, with the first sale valued at around $500 million and more deals expected. More significantly, the U.S. government has indicated that it plans to rebuild Venezuela's decaying oil infrastructure, invite major American oil companies like Chevron to increase production and exports, control and sell Venezuelan oil to global markets, including the U.S. All of this highlights a simple but powerful reality. Oil equals influence, and influence buys power in global politics. To understand why Venezuela matters so much to the U.S., we need to step back and see the bigger picture. Oil isn't just fuel, it's geopolitical currency. Whoever controls oil supplies wields influence over global energy markets, national security, foreign policy, economic stability, military strategy. For decades, U.S. foreign policy has been shaped by access to energy resources. Venezuela's massive reserves, once accessible to foreign investors, represented a strategic prize. As the world transitions to new energy sources, oil remains vital. Experts warn that global demand for oil will stay strong for decades, meaning there will be heavy competition over proven reserves like Venezuela's. So part of the U.S. interest isn't just about immediate oil shipments. It's about securing a strategic foothold in a shifting energy landscape. It's not only about oil. Venezuela has been deeply connected with global powers beyond the US. Under Maduro, Venezuela built strong ties with Russia, China, Iran. This created a geopolitical tension point right in the Western Hemisphere, a region the United States has long regarded as its sphere of influence. From the U.S. perspective, reaffirming influence over Venezuela isn't just about energy, it's about preventing adversaries from gaining strategic ground near American borders. This has led analysts to frame recent U.S. moves as part of a broader power struggle between global superpowers. Of course, not everyone agrees with the U.S. approach. Critics argue the operation lacks clear legal backing under international law. The war on drugs justification masks deeper motives tied to oil and power. Venezuela's sovereignty has been violated. Rapid exploitation of oil resources could harm global climate goals. Some experts say that even if Venezuela's oil flows again, it won't immediately shift global markets. Production and export increases will take years and massive investments. This debate is part of a larger global conversation about energy security, ethics, and the future of international relations. So, after all that history, politics, and strategy, why does this matter to you? Here's the bottom line. Oil matters and Venezuela has a lot of it. The U.S. is acting strategically to secure energy influence and geopolitical advantage. This affects global energy prices, world politics, and future international conflicts. What happens in Venezuela isn't isolated, it resonates worldwide. Whether you're watching gas prices, following world news, or thinking about the future of global power, Venezuela's story is part of that picture. If you found this deep dive helpful, hit like and subscribe for more videos that break down complex world events into clear, understandable stories. Comment below what part of Venezuela's situation surprised you most, and let me know what topic you want explained next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.